I am Radoslav VLKOVIČ Dávid VADKERTI. We represent JFI and we will talk about data analytics, how we see data in our company and how we want to see the data in communication with the contractors, investors and other stakeholders. So a couple of information about us, so you can read that. I would like to introduce you to our company. Most of you may know us, and we work on big projects like Sky Park, Eurovia 2, Fuchsova, Panorama City 2 or 3, and many other projects. And this means we need to work with big data. And this is the main challenge for us that we face. This is kind of a joke, you know. Something is missing there, and we will get to there. The first picture where you have the Lego cubes, this is how we start on our project. And we can get to the third type of picture, and we would like to show you how to get even further to those bottom pictures. First, we need to retrieve the data, then we upload the data. But if this is the user's data or some other data, then we need to collect this automatically. And once we analyze the data and we know what it is telling us, then we need to adopt certain measures. For instance, we need to fix something in the module or we increase the efficiency. So we want to cover three main areas in our presentation, and we try to find answers to those questions. And this is what is our efficiency? Since we have big data, we need to look into our projects. We work with Skrevit and different software, and what do we do with this big data? Then we look into whether we have correctly structured data and whether we haven't made mistakes. And the third area is how we can share this data with the investors. So first, how do we work with our team, with the files and the data, and where are we finding challenges and what are the processes? The first input information, we have huge RVT files, and we try to first see how they are connected, interconnected, and which is stored where. The second input is that we have many users. Yes, since we have many users, it is basically unmanageable. So it's very good to have this kind of a dashboard or report where we can easily find out when, at what time, how many users open and synchronize certain data, and that makes it more manageable. This is work on Revit files, actually at the level of individual user. And we know that this user was working on 2 projects, and in the middle we are lacking the green bars. So if something has happened between August and September, it was definitely not him, because he didn't store anything in that time period. And those are next factors: opening files, for how long the files are open, whether it is any different to certain trends, and thus we can find out that there's a potential mistake in a given file, or the user cannot use the file correctly, and that we can intervene. Next stage, synchronization. When, in the case of opening, we can filter it by the user, and by the project. And the main reason why we do it like this is we have a limited number of BIM managers who can look into the projects in a qualified way, and it's not really manageable to open each and every file and see whether there is any problem, whether it takes too long. If we were to do it in that way, then a week would pass, and there could be other problems recurring. This is the main motive where we are taking the bird's perspective on a set of files.
Tieto nástroje ale nie sú niekde úplne extra, ako vidíte, zapíname ich z Revitu, z našich nástrojov, kde vlastne sa otvorí vstavaný Microsoft Power BI, kde sa vlastne usporiadávajú a prezentujú tieto dáta.
Tie dashboardy sú instantne prístupné rovno z lišty v Revite.
Takže to zväčšíme tento dashboard.
So this dashboard that you can see here, it is actually here we have a sum or the full list of our files, and we can look at them individually or all together. We measure various parameters. We have some formulas that are set in such a way that parameters are there are limits to parameters, and whenever the limit is exceeded, then we can see it in the dashboard. So the user can immediately see that there's something wrong. For example, a number of lines, a number of DVGs, etc. And then we can look at history of each file, and we can look at this breakpoint when something happened. So this first slide shows us just a one point in time, but here we have a timeline. So we know that when there is something that drops or that rises sharply, we know that indicates something. For example, we know that someone erased a number of views, and we see, for example, that how long it takes for the model to be filled with warnings. So it is all about looking at the behavior of our Revit files. We know that approximately it takes 1 month for the file to be filled with warnings, and therefore we have to clean it every month so that it doesn't freeze when we open, etc. And this way we can check all our files. We can look at anything that is outside the regular trends. Here we can see very simply that everything that is above the blue line, the two files there, are somehow there's something wrong with modeling. So here the ratio of the size of the model to the number of objects there is too large, and therefore we have to open it and check it. Then we have also warnings. Here we monitor the number of warnings. So there are standard warnings in the Revit, and then we also selected some typical warnings that have impact on the quality. There are some 10 to 12 of them, and of course, we want to somehow modify it or edit it. We have custom editing. We can modify it. We click on the specific error, and then in the Revit we zoom immediately on that specific part. We can isolate it, and we know that there is a problem with that, and we can fix it. Well, if some of you works in Revit, you know how cumbersome it is to work with warnings. I'm very happy for this tool from David, because at least it allows me to have the warnings or this window with the warnings on the side. Okay, the time is running up, so we have to speed it up. So there are these tools and some other tools. We also have the statistics of use for each tool. We see how often these tools are used and whether people use them and to what extent. And if they are not used, we know that there is a problem with it. Probably people don't know about the tool, or it's not that convenient, and therefore it needs to be fixed. So now one in Revit there is a number of ways how we can influence people. One is educating them, then the second is to add this plugin. For example, that there are some new trainings and they should watch it. And what is also important is we try to avoid bad things happening. So when they are trying to do something that they're not supposed to, we immediately have this pop-up window that guides them how to do it properly. And then at the same time, we can tell who did what in what project. So there are these 3 or 4 levels. That the first level is the prevention, so that's the instant log, and it can be displayed. Then there is the data extraction. So every night there is this Revit batch processor that extracts data, and then the next is a Power BI. Once we know what the data is saying, then we can edit files and eliminate any errors. Or through custom edit. And therefore we need to make sure that everyone has the updated version. Okay. Now, the second part is about how to inspect our internal project data. So, if we have way too many projects or files in the Revit, it would be cumbersome to check manually. So we need to, for example, check if the data in individual Revit files are the same. That is why we have these oversight dashboards, and then the data are synchronized, and it is interactive. That means you can click on the data. For example, we can check various rooms. In rooms, we can check if the same flooring is used. Then we can distinguish between various types of rooms. So this is a great tool for someone calculating the costs, so that they see, for example, this type of tiling is used in all these kinds of rooms. Here we see, for example, that in 20 different rooms, this is the composition. And we also make sure that there are no errors, and if there are problems, we can open it. So we are actually tracing it from the consequences backward, and that would not be possible without the data standard. And this data standard was we are compliant with BIM association, but we went a step forward. Okay, now I'm going to skip this. We can conclude this slide just by saying that everything is done automatically. You don't have to do save as, everything is saved automatically. Okay, and the last thing is that we want to be able to share this data with our partners. Normally from Revit we exported it to text and to Excel, and then the formatting is lost. We don't want to do it do it in Excel. That is why we do or we use other tools. We don't want to use Excel. We want to share the data with client. For example, this particular one, this particular thing is related to parking spaces, and this is what they get, and they don't get just a single spreadsheet. They can click and filter whatever they need. So okay, so it's not about spreadsheets. What we are trying to do is to get rid of a problem that the clients get data that are not interactive. If they get just a spreadsheet, it's very difficult to get their head around it. But if you have a layout, you can then click on whatever you need and produce a spreadsheet that you want. So this interactivity is the key, and I can click on any of the rooms, any of the apartments, and so I don't have to send them 50 different Excel spreadsheets for each apartment. They get a single file where everything is that, and it's not only about flooring. It's about walls, everything. I can click on any of the rooms and I see the spreadsheet. And it's not only about 2D. It can be a 3D. There is a 3D interactive display through Power BI, and they can click on that and select whatever they want. They see immediately the figures. So the understanding of the model is so much easier. And what's important is that they don't have to have any software, they don't have to buy any tool or anything. They can use just a regular web browser. Okay, and the last slide, this is how it actually works. This one, this upper part is with us, and then this is the part that is with clients. Okay, it was quick, but we managed.